Hello, welcome once again to Living and Active. I know I said I wasn't going to be, I do this all the time. You should be used to it by now, but still it's like a tradition. The second I say that I'm not going to be doing very many more videos because I have to focus on this, that, or the other thing, sure enough, here comes another video. I have actually managed to complete a lot of the things that I said in the most recent video, which is on the Watchful Nomad um, playlist. I'm not sure. This one might not go on a playlist. This one might stand alone. Um, but before I continue, I'm sitting in my office chair, so I have a little bit more of a relaxed posture, and I'm a little bit more wedged in and supported. So if you see me do something weird like swivel, no, I'm not levitating. I'm just in a different chair. Um, this channel, none of its content is sponsored by anybody. It's not approved by anybody. It's not manipulated by anybody, whatever. Absolutely nobody has anything to say about what happens on this channel other than me. And if I upset the uh, the powers that be too much, then my channel will just stop existing, and then I'll deal with it. Uh, but I do like bringing to people's attention the work of other people on YouTube. So you're going to see, and it's not all necessarily about like scripture, literacy, or disability stuff, as you will see in this video. But I'm going to share a link to a very specific video from the channel The Hillbilly Kitchen, Down Home Country Cooking. Um, it is, on the surface, exactly what it sounds like. But this is a sister in grace. She is a believer. She has been through a lot over the last few years. She lost her first husband during COVID, not to COVID. Um, I'm not going to go too far into the story that I know from watching her videos, whatever, but it's there for you to view as you explore her channel. But I'm going to put a link into the video that I'm listening to and looking over to watch um, in the description of this video, just because her channel, her family, the work that they all do in that area of the country, Appalachia, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's valuable stuff. It's noteworthy, and it's definitely worthy of supporting, of getting behind, of encouraging the people who do the things. So uh, the recipe video that I'm watching um, is cheesy chicken Mexican casserole, but there's always a subtext, um, uh, a message within the recipe that comes right about the time she gets into a stopping point, and then she'll address the people that are watching her channel directly with whatever encouragement she has. There's stories involved. It's a very calming sort of experience, and it's real people. It's a real family doing real things to get by. But anyway, all that information is going to be linked in the description. This video, I don't know if I'm going to be clever enough to come up with a title that's going to announce what's going on with this video beforehand. But I do want to take a little bit of time, as I sometimes do, and address the enigma that is Generation X. Not in defense of it or support of this cultural narrative that is building about Gen X. This is taking my fellow Gen Xers by the shoulder, looking them in the eye, and saying, hang on a second. We are known, actually, we are stereotyped as being the generation that doesn't care. We've been called slackers, apathetic, self-centered. At one point, we were called the me generation. Um, and many of us are aware of the cultural and societal engineering that went into uh, everything having to do with Gen X. We were slated for extermination with Roe v. Wade, and I think spiritually speaking, we are. I think we are we're the vanguard generation. I think we really are. We came up. We thrived in neglect. We thrived in exploitation. We thrived in abuse. We thrived in all of these things that were designed to wipe us out systematically. In the last 7 years that of birth that quote unquote define who is or who is not Gen X, fully 30% of our potential population was wiped out between 1973 and 1980 by the effects of Roe v. Wade. After that, it was a gauntlet of things that were existential threats to us as a generation, to us as children and young adults, and they haven't stopped. We learned how to take care of ourselves. We learned how to look out for each other. We learned how to hold ourselves and each other accountable in a non-destructive way, in a way that builds up and promotes the healthful advancement of our generation. That's what we're known for. That's why we are as resilient as we are. Some stereotypes are true. We do have a whatever, don't care attitude, but it's not apathy. We don't care about the consequences of doing the right thing. Brass tacks. This was something that was put on full display when we were kids and young adults. We just didn't care. We absolutely refused to be cultivated into what people tried to make us. And I promise you, people tried all kinds. The boomers wanted to try to turn us into all kinds of things. They wanted us as divided as the subsequent generations, millennials, Generation Z, whatever else you have. That kind of division, the infighting, the self-destructive tendencies that is plaguing current younger generations after us was meant for us, and we refused. We said, y'all don't care whether or not we exist. You're taking on momentous things to try to exterminate us. Do not care that you want us fighting each other. Don't. So we're not going to. We're going to help each other thrive, no matter what it costs us. And so when when boomers started saddling us with the slacker generation, or they're just the non-compliant and all these other things, generations of or a generation of rebels without a clue. I think that was Tom Petty who said that. But that's how we were seen. And when those efforts failed, then the attention of the boomers turned to millennials and to Generation Z in retribution against Generation X for refusing to be broken by the social engineering that they tried to bring about in our generation. We resisted. We didn't care about the pressure. We didn't care what it cost us to resist. We just resisted. We were tough. We knew it. We could handle it. We were brought up in neglect. We were brought up in the knowledge that we were at best an inconvenience to our parents. And we come to today. And we realize, if you're paying attention, if you're Gen X and you're paying attention, you have to understand that boomers were watching us. They were learning from us as we were learning for ourselves and teaching each other. They saw how resourceful we are. They understood how readily we will abandon everything and beat feet down the road to whatever opportunities await in order to survive, to keep going. They saw firsthand, over and over and over and over again, how readily we will forsake pretty much everything in order to stand in defense of one of our own. That is what they are now. No, they are not now. They have succeeded in refining out of millennials and Generation Z. All of the things that we would do in order to sustain ourselves and thrive in a situation in which this unsustainable way of doing things collapses, as we have known all our lives it's going to, has been deliberately engineered to take away the most evident tenets of our resourcefulness. It's almost impossible to do even the basic things of human daily life without some sort of interface with the monolith of the digital age and all of its systems and everything else. Regulation on business ventures and liability and the over emphasis of potential liability and laws demanding a certain level of coverage and licensing and all these other things that will bankrupt any small business entrepreneur at the get-go, right from the start, and put them in continuous cycles of debt so that they can never actually thrive, as punishment for seeking their own path, seeking their own joy and happiness and everything else, and wanting to operate independent of a system that is cancerous and is doing nothing but spreading corruption and dysfunction throughout this whole society. So here's the point. Here's the message to my fellow Gen Xers. Yeah, we've been betrayed. Up one side, down the other, in generations before and ahead of us. The generations after us have been conditioned to see us with distrust and to relish whatever means of attrition they manage to leverage against us. Boomers are still trying to destroy us. Half of them don't even remember how to spell their own names, but they're still on task. At least they're consistent. But here's the thing. We, in our stereotypical whatever, don't care, apathy, the misunderstood lack of concern, we have been conditioned now in this resurgence of Generation X self-awareness. We have been conditioned to take that to the extreme of, well, we don't care what happens to anyone, so we're not going to venture anything. We've been betrayed and used and exploited time and time again. So our characteristic apathy now is directed at other people are what was once our strongest trait of resiliency and the ability to uh, come together as a generation in spite of everything has been turned into a conditioned response. I'm Gen X. I don't care about you. I don't care about what you're going through. You're probably just going to try to screw me over anyway if I do try to help. So forget you. I've been here myself. I just, not that long ago, I did a video that's still up, and I'm going to keep it up even after I say these things, where I am of the opinion, just withdraw within my own gravity, and let the people who want to be garbage stay garbage. Let the people who want to deal in disruptive, dysfunctional things just be the messes that they desire to be. But I have to acknowledge that not everybody wants to be that way. Even among millennials and Generation Z, there are some people who want to genuinely be human. There are those who have been conditioned in their own right to be absolutely adversarial to the noteworthy things of verity that give Generation X our strength. They know they're being played. They don't know to the extent to which they're being played. And now, with Generation X withdrawing, there's no recourse for them. There's no one standing as a vanguard in the gap, in the breach, saying that there might not be many here that are seeking rescue, that know that there's better, that want better, but for every single one that there is someone willing to take whatever comes on their behalf. Yes, we are classically, traditionally exploited, abused, run over, whatever. But you have to come to the point as Gen X, if you want to, you don't have to. But if you're going to be true Gen X, tough, resilient, or whatever, and not turn to the dark side of our stereotype and let it be used to defeat you and remove you out of the realm of possibility of recourse for the younger generations, you have to come to the point where you say, yes, my concern for other people is going to be weaponized and used against me. Yes, many of the people I'm going to try to help will betray me. The damage from betrayal doesn't come from the act of betrayal. The damage from betrayal comes from the failure to accept its inevitability and prepare for its effects in advance. Get yourself steeled for the outcomes of that betrayal and proceed anyway with confidence and with the I don't even want to call it authority, because it's not authority. It's just the carriage of someone who says, you might be about to stomp a mud hole in my chest, but screw you. There are people here that are worth what they're looking for. Would I have I been betrayed by every single woman I've tried to start a family with? Yes. Would I absolutely love to find one that won't betray me? and start something, build something, continue something with her, something sacred and worthwhile to protect, in a heartbeat. I have to admit that. Might call it stupidity, might call it being a sucker for punishment. I call it not giving up hope. I call it remaining useful to the protection, defense of the sacred things that come with being a human being. I I refuse to comply to conditioned non-participation in trying to rectify or at least clean up as many parts of human interaction and my immediate bubble of society and community as possible, to remind people of what is broken, to remind them of everything that was great and golden about the liberty that came to us, this Generation X, from the neglect, from the passive and sometimes active negligence, hoping we wouldn't survive whatever we went through. What came with it was a hunger, a desire, an ingrained dependence, not even a dependence. It's a drive to seek the better, not the most convenient, not the least painful, not the cleanest, but the best. And the best comes with inconvenience. It comes with struggle. It comes with hardship. It comes with pain. It comes with loss. But it's worth it. People out there are worth it. You can choose to act on that knowledge or not. That's up to you. But I'm redirecting my stereotypical Generation X apathy and lack of concern. I'm wearing my Alarmingly Unperturbed hat right now because I don't care how many people call me a sucker for punishment. I don't care how many people will call me foolish. I don't care how many people will call me a goody two-shoes. I don't care about the backlash I get from generations either behind me or ahead of me. If you know my story, you know I've faced plenty of both and I still am. I don't care. Why? Because a single positive result, a single life pushed towards, guided towards, aided towards healthful recovery, resurgence, and flourishing is worth it. And somebody has to be willing to say, yes, this is worth it. No one else is willing to pay that cost. So here I am. And it's got to be Gen X because nobody else is either knows how to do it or equipped to do it as we are. Many of us aren't going to be willing to stand in the gap for anyone else because we have been our entire lives, and I get it. But for those of us who still have the energy, the strength, and the character to remember who we truly are, not who the posters say we are, not who the movies say we are, but who we are, when you take all of that stuff away, we know that more than anything, we value tribe over everything else. Whether that's your household, your family, or a group of people that has to be cobbled together from whatever, other people are the most important thing on the planet. We know this. We didn't have the people that we were supposed to have, so we learned how to thrive by the people we could gather around ourselves. And we look for excuses to not keep anyone out of that circle. And we did the best we could to try to bring each other up, honing character traits, seeing each other through the hard times, mourning with each other, celebrating with each other, even over stupid stuff. A lot of this looked like some very wrong things, granted. But even that improper training, self-imposed, brought us to where we are today. We are the only generation that both knows the right answer and has at least a few of us that are willing to work towards it. So, if you are a Gen Xer and you watch this channel, you come to this channel, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to remind you who you are, who you could be, who you wanted to be way back when, and leave the decision up to you. For the people around you that you might not even know are around you, who are worth it. That's all. I'm going to go back to my coffee now. I'm going to go back to my, actually I have to replay it because it ran out while I was busy yapping. But I'm going to put that information for that video down here. I'm going to let you hear some very cool things, see some really nice food being made, and I'll let you think about these things. Act on them or not, whatever, I don't care. It's not going to change how I choose to do it. Either way, we're still cool. Until next time, if there is next time, and there might not be, God be with you.